evening, very warm welcome. Sorry for the delay. We had a little bit of a technology issue on our end. So we wasted about 15 minutes. So today's session we'll have to run till 8:15. Apologies for that. And we hope that this will not bother us in future. So sorry for keeping you waiting. Our last session was about pivot tables. And we said that this is a very important tool from the perspective of the work that accountants do, or anybody who's handling or dealing with data, they do. So yesterday we did about 40% of pivot table. The topic is not over. There's still quite a few important aspects to it, which is what we are going to get cracking on straight away. So without any further ado, let me hand over to Khurram, and Khurram will probably have to shout his throat out, and hopefully he'll be audible. All right, Khurram, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Harun. Am I audible? Harun, yes. Okay, fine. Great. Okay, let's start what we left from yesterday. Okay, let me just very quickly. Okay, we were working on the sales data workbook, right? So let me open it. Okay, so this is the data we were working on, right? We have discussed what is a pivot table. It is a summarizing tool, it is an analyzing tool, etc. We did discuss some of the rules of the data normalization as well, right? And then we have seen that how easily we can transform this data into a pivot table report, and how we can modify as per our requirement. So some of the tasks that we that were left yesterday, we will try to cover it as quickly as possible, and then move to the dashboard, right? So let's begin. So this is the data source. Insert, we have pivot table, and we have this data source and existing, not existing.
Sorry for interrupting, Khurram. Your screen is not being shared. Your screen is on hold. So if you could please go to sharing in your menu, in the go to webinar menu, go to sharing and press that play button.
Okay.
The big play button for sharing screen. Now you switch it off. Please switch it on again.
Yes, I did. It is in the waiting mode.
So you should be sharing your screen, yeah? Yes, now we can see your desktop, okay? Can you now go to your Excel screen?
Okay. So will you be able to see the Excel sheet?
Yes, now I can see the Excel sheet. That's fine.
Okay, fine.
Please continue. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Okay, we have just inserted a blank pivot table, right? And these are the pivot table fields. Okay, what we did yesterday, we have just created this very simple report, right? So this is the report that we have created. Okay, now let's focus on few of the things that were left. That is because pivot table is a summarizing tool. It can give you the total of the data of the pivot table field. We can change the summary function in a very simple way. How we can do that? For example, I want to see that the number of transactions that in Faisalabad that we can do. For example, just click the sum of amount, right click, and you will see the contextual menu pop up, and then we have the summarized value by. Now you can summarize this by either a sum, because the sum is tick right now, but what we want to get the count of it. If I click count, now you will see that there are 20 transactions of Faisalabad, 16 transaction of Gojra and so forth. So similarly, you can add another a form of the summary of the amount. If I hover my mouse on the amount from the pivot field and drag it to the value section, now you see I have two fields of the amount. One is for the count and one is for the amount. So I can have two different measures, right? So these are the measures of count of amount and the count of and the sum of amount. So you can get the average of it, you can count it, you can do whatever is available, the summary function. So this is how you can change the summary function, right? That is one way. The other way is if you click the pivot table analyze, and you will say we have the field setting. If you click the field setting, and you will get another dialog box, and from here you can change the settings of the summary function, right? Count, average, max, min, etc., etc. So this is one way. So if I want to change it, for example, I want to remove this, just remove it. And then if you want to go back, then summarize value by sum, and we have all of this. Okay, fine. There is another way of presenting your data. So one way is the summary, the sum of the total, the count of the total, etc., etc. But this data can be presented in another way. For example, let me uncheck this, go to the quantity, and now I have the sum of quantity, right? Now what I'm trying to do is I want to see that data in terms of percentages. For example, click any one of the cell, right click, and then you can see we have summarized value by, and then we have show values as. So when you hover your mouse on the show values as, there is another menu pop up, and you can see there are quite good options available. For example, we have the column percent of column total. If you click that, you will see that the data is changed in terms of percentages of the column total, right? So this is how you can change the pattern of the data. For example, no calculation, it will go back to the sum of quantity, right click it. Okay, let me give you an example of cross tabular report. For example, I want to look at from two different perspectives. Maybe, for example, I want to see that what is the sale of the product in terms of quantity with respect to a location. So that I can do. What can I do? For example, this is okay. There is a okay. So we have the product. Let the product hover your and drag it down to the column section. Okay, we have this, right? So you can see that what happened is now the Faisalabad, the laptop, there are 35 laptops sold out, right? There are 48 LCD sold out in Faisalabad. So this is the distribution of the product in terms of quantity, location wise. So this is another way of presenting your data. Then select any of the cell in the value section and right click. If you right click, you will have a show values as, then we have the percent of column total or the grand total, whatever you may select it. Now this is the percentage of the data we have. Now you can see, for example, the laptop. In this column, you can see that in Peshawar there are 27.89% of the total of the laptop that is sold out. So this is gives you another way of analyzing your data from various perspective. That is one. Okay. So there is a problem with, okay. Now we have this data, right? Now, what we can do, there is a problem with the mouse, I guess. Won't be able to use it properly. Okay. So go back, I'm removing this. Now we are back to this simple pivot table. Okay, fine. Now we can, we want to make a comparisons of this data. For example, I want to take a difference of, for example, from a particular location. So that I can do with the help of, again, the right click. Then we have this show values as, and if you look at the difference from. So difference from is another good way of analyzing your data from the different perspective. Now look at, we have the base field, which is location right now, but the base item is Gujarat. So you want to look at your data based on this item, which is Gujarat, right? So if you click OK, and you will see your data is somewhat changed. Since this is a base value of Gujarat, so everything is gone to minus, right? And we have in Peshawar 1,421. So there is a more sale is done in Peshawar, in Rawalpindi as compared to Gujarat. So this is the way to look the data from another angle. So these are few of the things. Okay, one more thing. Show values as, then we have no calculations. And now what I'm doing it, I'm removing location. I'm putting date, because I have the date column, right? So the months auto detected, go back now. Now I have this date-wise sale in terms of the quantity. So what I can do, I can develop a running total as well. For example, I have this. Let me have another instance of the quantity here. So I have this. So select the second one, right click, then we show values as, and we have the running total. So if you running total, click the running total by date, base field is date, click OK, and you will see we have a nice looking running total. On the 1st of January, we sold out 5 quantity. On the 2nd of January, again 5, and the total is 5. Then on the 3rd of January, we have 55, and the total becomes 65. So this is how it goes. You can generate a running total of some of the numeric columns from show values as. Right, so these are the few of the things from this menu. Okay, now I'm removing this field. Go back. Okay, I have this one. Now I want to look the data from a different perspective. For example, I want to see that, for example, from January 1 to January 7, or maybe the 10 days, that how many quantity we have sold. So this we can do by selecting one of the cell of the date, and then right click, and you see you will find a group. If you click group, right, I have the grouping option. Right now, in terms of number of days. So the number of days, maybe if you want to have a look at your data in terms of maybe 7 days, maybe 10 days. So for example, 7 days. So select 7, click OK, and your data is changed into, or rather grouped into weekly basis. So the first 7 days, the quantity sold out is 132. The second week, the next 7 days, there is 134. The third is the 170, and so on and so forth. So you can look at the pattern, how the data is transformed, how the data is grouped, right? So this is how you can do that. So to ungroup the data, we have selected one of the cells. Again, the ungroup. If you ungroup, the data is become ungrouped. So this is few of the things that I think we left yesterday. Now, come to one important aspect. For example, we have this report, maybe location wise. This is the data, right? For example, I have the location. I have the location somewhere. Okay, I'm dragging it down. So this is the location. Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to create the pivot table of each of the location of the a product. So this is the report. I can filter it, right? For example, I can filter it. This is then I have the product. This is the product I'm putting into the filter. So this is the report I can filter from here, right? So we have learned 2 ways of filtering your report, one with the slicer and other with this option. So this option has another hidden feature. Let's see what is that. So I am filtering this data, for example, LCD, and click OK. So what will happen? This report is filtered with respect to LCD. Now my objective is to create as many pivot tables, right, instantaneously, or generate a report that will have the information of that particular product location wise, right? So that our objective is. So we want to generate multiple reports right here, and we will be making use of this option, the filter option. So these are all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 8 products, right, in this data set, right? And we want to create 8 different pivot tables, right? 8 different pivot tables. Let's see how we can do that. First of all, we need to place the filter, right, on the proper place, which is already there. And we have the report in place. Now, once it is done, you can click the pivot table analyze, right? Then on the extreme left, we have the pivot table. Click pivot table, right? Then we have the options. We have the options, and here we have show report filter pages. When you select this one, it will ask, because there is only one filter here, right? So that is why we have one filter value here. If we have multiple filters on this section, so then this dialog box would have contained as many filter items. So we have only one. Now click OK. When we click OK, it will take a bit of time, but it will generate the number of reports which are filtered through the respective the filter that we have in place, which is the product. So this is the pivot table of laptop. This is the pivot table of LCD. This is the pivot table of monitor. This is the pivot table of printer, etc., etc. Right. So this is one of the important hidden feature in pivot table, right? So it's very, very easy to generate as many pivot table as you the particular column have data items it has. So we have 8 products in that column, so it has generated 8 different pivot tables instantaneously, right? So this, for some of the people, they find this feature very, very useful. Okay, let me delete because it is not. Let me try to delete all by one. RIM, scanner, toner. So we have created as many pivot tables. So I'm deleting all of this. So delete, yes, deleted. Okay, fine. So we are back to our original pivot table, right? So these are some of the feature. Maybe let me see. Do we have left with some other? Okay, pivot table, some insert slicer. Okay, now what we want to do? We want to create our dashboard now with the help of a pivot table. How we can do that? For example, let me develop a simple one. Okay, fine. So there is a problem with the mouse. Okay, fine. Okay, times this mouse stuck. Okay, so let me drag this down and okay. So because the data item in the product is low, so that is why I've used this feature. So this is the quantity. Let me change it. Let me change it to quantity QTY. So this is how you can change, right? So total quantity maybe. It's not working. Okay, fine, good. Okay, so let's change it to TOTAL, total quantity, right? So this is the total quantity. So we have total quantity. So you have just learned how to change the label names. So we have the total quantity. We want to have another Maya that is amount, right? So this is amount and this is the discount. So what I want to do is I want to take these 3 values. So we have laptop, total quantity is this, discount is given to these product is this much, and we have the sum of amount. Now I want to create a dashboard using this data set. But what can I do? I can create 3 different charts. One laptop with respect to total quantity, then the product with the discount, the product with an amount. So my objective is that my dashboard has 3 charts, right? Maybe a bar chart, maybe a pie chart, or whatever chart which are more appropriate for the dashboard, right? But I have 3 different tables as well. So let me give you an idea what we are trying to achieve. So we have this table, this pivot table. Now we want to create one chart based on this pivot table. But before that, we want to insert one slicer. And the slicer is, we have this, then we have go to the pivot table, and we have an insert analyzer. And now we want to insert or filter this pivot table with respect to, for example, location, and click OK. Okay, we have this good looking slicer. Just wait a minute, we will try to format this as well. But this is a slicer by which I can filter this report. Now, what can I do now? I can insert a chart based on this data set. So select any of the cell of this pivot table, go to pivot table, and then we have in the tool group, we have pivot charts. So click pivot chart. When you click pivot chart, the insert chart dialog box comes up, right? So these are the different charts available to us. For example, I want to create a column chart, right? I can create a bar chart, right? I can create a pie, bar, whatever chart that I'm looking for, or it's good. Right now it's column chart. Click column chart, right? I want to click this one, and we see that I have a good looking, not good looking, but it's something, we have the chart here, right? So if I select one, right now this chart represent graphically represent this data. For example, look at this. I have the laptop, which is this value. We have LCD, which is this value. And look at this RIM. RIM is 2930. So this has to be a big bar, right? So this is a chart. Now, if I select one of the item from the slicer, for example, Faisalabad, look and see what will happen. The chart is filtered, and so is, the table is filtered, and so is the chart. So keep on doing this, and you will see there is an impact. That is, for example, look at the Gujranwala. In Gujranwala laptop, there are 40 laptops, there are 57 LCDs, and so on and so forth. So this is the basic idea of the dashboard, that we have a table, right? This is the table we have. This is the chart we have. This chart represent this data graphically, and here is the slicer that is interactive in such a way. Then we select, whenever we select one of the item from this slicer, this table, this pivot table, and this chart is filtered with respect to the selected item, right? So this is how we can develop dashboard. So that is the simplest of the dashboard. Now we have the second table. What we want to do is we want to create another table just like this one, right? But Now, in terms of discount, right? So I want to have another table right underneath this table, right? And that is for discount given to the sale of these many product. Now, to leave two rows, select this one. I want to create a pivot table. So there are two different ways to create a pivot table here. One with the option, this one, select any, insert, pivot table. Now this time we will be looking, we are aiming to generate a pivot table on the existing workbook, right? Existing work. Select this time the existing workbook. Now the location. Now the location, clicks this button and move to sheet 1, right? And select this cell, click and click this one. Now what will happen? This table is generated, right? The empty table. So we want to have the product. So click product, and then this time we have the product. Okay, we have this time the a product. So what you can do is you can create a pivot chart with the help of the options that we have, right? We have this pivot table, we have the pivot chart, right? Then we have the pivot. We want to create this one, double click, okay, maybe click OK. Okay, now we have another chart, right? So this is the chart. Okay, right. We need to just align it a bit so it is more. Okay, fine. Now we have this chart. Let me make a resize a bit. Okay, this one go down. Okay, and I can delete this total as well to give the more spaces. Okay, fine. So now you can see I have two tables, one table, second table, right? And two charts, one representing the total quantity, and the second is the total. You can this is the discount, right? You can change it to discount. So this is the discount. This is the quantity. You can type quantity here as well. Or so I have two tables. I don't know. Now, if I click this one, right? Look at this. This table changes. This this chart changes, right? If I select any of the data item, but it does not have an impact on this table or on this chart. Now, what we want to do is we want to connect this slicer to this chart, this pivot table and this chart. Whenever I select one of the options from this slicer, this chart will also be filtered. This chart, this pivot table and this chart both should be filtered, as we have table 1 and chart 1. So this we can do, but one thing that we should do, and it is for our own convenience, that name this table. So how to name this table? We will be using the name for connecting it to the slicer. So this is your chart. Go to pivot table and you will say somewhere here pivot table, and you have pivot table here. So let me do it again for you. So we have selected one of the table, right? We have pressed the pivot table analyze tab. Then on the extreme left, we have the pivot table. Click pivot table and you see there is a pivot table name. So maybe we can call it a quantity QTY table. So this is quantity table. Click enter and it is all done. Now go back to the discount table, right? Select one, go to analyze, and we go to extreme left, select pivot table, and we have this. So we have, for example, the discount table. So now we have two tables. One is the quantity table and other is the discount table. So it helps us in connecting. Otherwise, by default, whenever we create a table, the default value will be pivot table 1, pivot table 2, pivot table 3. So it is difficult for us to memorize that we are connecting which table, right? So this is this we should do. We should give a name to our pivot table like we just did, right? So once we have done it, select the slicer. Now what we are doing, we are connecting this slicer with this pivot table and with this chart, right? So right now it is only connected to quantity table and the quantity chart. So let's select one of the item. You see this is filtered, this is filtered, but these are not. Now connect this one. Now when you click on the location, at the top of the slicer, which is of location, you see the new contextual tabs comes up. Now select one, which is slicer, and you have different options to play with this slicer. We will do some of the thing in a bit, but right now we have the report connection. So if you click report connection, you see the tables. There is the discount table and the quantity table. If you can see that quantity table is checked, it means that this slicer is connected to this pivot table. And we also know that on the basis of this pivot table, we have created this pivot chart. So in a way, this pivot table is this slicer is connected to this pivot table and this pivot table. Now, by checking this box, which is beside the discount table, right? And if we click OK, then this slicer will also be connected to these two. So click OK and you see that now it is connected. So this is Gojra, right? This is Gujranwala, and both are connected to this slicer, right? This is one. Now let me put this slicer here, right? Let me change this to pie chart. How to change the chart type? select a chart, right click, and in the option you have the change chart type. Change chart type, right, select the pie chart this time, click this one, right, we have, and you can just do a bit of formatting, but we are not doing it, but this is, we have, okay, change this as well, change chart type to pie, right, you can select this one, click OK. So this is another chart type, right? We can put, for example, if I want to put the label or the chart legends, so this is how you can change it. So now we have the Gojra, and you can see that the charts is being changing. We can add values to it as well. For example, I want to add, for example, here, this is better. Click, we have data label. If I click data label, you can see that I have the values of the slices, right? So this is it. Now, for example, I want to have more spaces. For example, I want to insert another table, right? And I want to have another chart on my dashboard, right? So in order to have more spaces, we can play with this location. We can redesign this. This is the default setting, right? But what I want to do, that this slicer may have 2 columns, right? So how you can change it? Select this slicer, we have the slicer tab, click slicer, and then select any of the option from here, column width, right? Not column width, we have two, now we want 2 columns, right? So we have 2 columns, right? So this is a 2 column. Now you can see I now I have 2 columns. I want to have 3 columns. So select this one, go to, I can have 3 columns. You can resize a bit so that the values here bit visible, right? More readable. Okay, fine. Now look at this. We can also have another slicer, right? This time we want to add a slicer. Go to here, want to have a slicer. This time I want the salesperson. Click OK, right? So I have another slicer, right? This is the one. I want to convert it into 3-column slicer. This is the slicer. This is 2, this is 3. Resize a bit. Okay. Now I have 2 slices. Now I want to see the performance of Mr. Ali Bukhari in the city of Faisalabad. So what can I do? Click Faisalabad. So this is the performance of the Faisalabad, right? In Faisalabad, we have 3 people working: Ali Bukhari, Shahid Hussain, and Zaki Sadar. If I click Ali Bukhari, right, the data is changed, but this is remain the same. So what we need to do is we need also to connect this table with this slicer. So how we can do that? Right click. This is the second way of connecting. The first one is we have used the slicer and the report connection. Now the second method is place your cursor at the top of the slicer, right click, and you should see another menu pop up, and we have here the report connection. So report connection, now we have again, just click the discount and click OK, and you see this is connected as well. So you want to look at the Shahid Hussain performance, click Shahid Hussain, and you will see the things are changing, right? Now I'm giving you a 2-minute task, right? It's a 2-minute task. Generate another table right here. I hope you are doing this stuff with me as well, right? So what you could do, just add another pivot table here, right? And connect it with this slicer. So it's a 2-minute task. And if you have any question, you can ask in these 2 minutes, please. Okay, Feroz, if they have any question, they may ask in these 2 minutes.
Yes, there are some questions. Shakil, it's in the handouts. You should have downloaded it when the webinar started, but it's still there. You can download it now. Okay, Mohammed Zahid Iqbal wants to ask, when we place multiple rows and multiple values in pivot tables, it becomes difficult to sort values ascending or descending order. How can we do it?
Descending, and okay, if you let me sort it, right? Sort smallest to largest or largest to smallest. Here we can do that. But you said that in the cross tabular format, in the cross tabular report,
when there are multiple rows.
Okay, fine. The answer is very easy and very simple. That is, whenever you have a pivot table with a cross tabular report, right? There is a rule that there is only one sort order available per column. You can only sort one column at a time. You cannot have the multiple sorting options, right? That is the rule of the report. We cannot apply multiple sort order to the cross tabular report. Yes, if we have only one column, that sort is easy. But when we have a multiple columns in a pivot table, then the rule is very simple, and the rule says that there is only one sort order available per report. That's it.
There's another thing. There was another question. A participant asked if when we show column values as sum, count, and there are different options, can we apply that option to multiple columns? Like we select two different columns. If there is a price and quantity column, we select both of the columns and we want to show them as percentage or as count. Can we do that to multiple columns, or that option is for only single columns?
No.
I believe it's for single column.
For example, we want to present the total quantity, but also we want to have a percentage, right? So if you want to do that, it is just get another instance of the quantity, right? Then select one of the cell of the new instance, right click, show values as, and any of the, for example, percent of column total, something like this. So we both have, this is the percentages, this is the total of laptop, this is the percentage, right? So this is how we can do that. You can add as many columns as you can, And for example, you can do with the amount, you can add amount here as well, you can add discount here as well, so that you can do. It's easy stuff. Okay, hopefully the guys have done the task. How many of you have done that?
You just have to repeat the task what you have assigned to them, so they also get a refresh of what you told them. And there's a question from Asad Rafiq. He wants to know if he just wants to show the dashboard, not the tables. Like just wants to show the graphs and avoid the pivot tables that you created. Is that possible?
Okay, look at this. For example, I've selected one of the pivot table, Control X, and somewhere down I've pasted it, right? So Control Y, I've pasted it. So go to the top, Control page up, right? So this is another table, Control X, and somewhere down put it Control Y. So the table are still in this sheet, but very deep down, right? And we have now these two nice looking table, right? We have the slicer in place, right? Faisalabad, look and see the Sahiwal, right? For example, let me do it again. Now the charts are there, pivot tables are somewhere in this sheet, but these are not visible. You can have these charts available with you, right? And whatever you want to show, if you want to show only the charts are there. If you want to show the tables are there. If you want to show both, you can do the both.
I think Asad wants to know if he wants to move the graphs to a different sheet, or if he wants to move the graphs to PowerPoint. Is that possible? Yes, Asad, that is possible, and
Yeah.
then that won't be a hassle. You can do that.
Yeah. But if you want to do something, maybe if you want to do it to some other application, maybe if you want to do to Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, so you have to do a bit of you may have to create a link between these two. Yes, you can do that. So that's not an issue. You can do that, but you need to copy it in a different way. You need to paste a link, copy, paste link, and then it will be done. Okay, fine. Let's go further. Right. Now, the task for the day. The task for the day is, so I'm winding it up, the pivot table. So these are few of the things among the many things that we have discussed in the pivot table. Okay, maybe there is two more thing I want you to have a look. Maybe we have this chart, right? Maybe, okay, for example, the projector. Yesterday I told you that there are three things that we will be doing in creating and manipulating the pivot table. One is the click, other is the drag, and the third one is the double click. Now is the time to look at what double click will do for you. For example, we have this pivot table, right? And we want to, and this is the summary of the a project. There are some formulas, and on the basis of these formulas, this result come up, right? So what we want to do, we want to have a look that how this value come up, right? Or what is the details of this particular, say, you may call it of this number. So it's in order to get the detail of this number, which is, for example, 241, which is of the a project, then what you need to do, you just need to double click it. Select any of the item from the value, and if you want to get the detail of this value, in this case, which is 241, just double click it. If you double click it, and you will see what will happen. There is a new sheet inserted, and this will contain the details of the project, right, of this data item. Now we have this is the project. You can see there is only one item which is the project, a projector, and these are the quantity. If you look at this, Control Shift down, if I select this column, right, you can see on the here, right, status bar, there is a count which is 241. I hope it is visible. So in the pivot table, it shows in the report that the quantity of the projector is 241, right? 241. I select the 241, double click it, and it gives me the detail of these 41 in another sheet, right? So this is the way you can get the detail of any data item from the a pivot table. This is the third thing that we discussed yesterday. So click, double click, and the drag. So these are the three things that you will be doing in creating a pivot table. So you can always delete this when you have look at the detail, because it is very easy to get it back. So if you want to get it back, just double click it. It will reopen a sheet for you, create a sheet for you. So that's it as far as the pivot tables are concerned, right? So we have done with the pivot table. Let me take a review of what pivot table is. The pivot table is primarily a summarizing tool. We can create pivot table from different perspective. It's very easy. Just click, drag, and double click. That's it. Then we can present your data in a pivot table in terms of percentage to look the same data from different perspective, right? And then we can present the data in the graphical form, which is the pivot charts, right? And also we can use different functionalities of the pivot table in order to create a good looking dashboards, right? So this is all about a pivot table. The one thing that is beyond the scope of today's session, and that is how to format the charts, right? So I hope majority of you know that how you can format this chart, right? So when if you know how to format this chart, then you can develop most elegant, most beautiful, most intriguing dashboard with the help of the pivot tables, right? So I'm concluding pivot tables right here. Okay, fine. This is one way of developing a dashboard. Now we look some other alternatives of developing dashboards, right? But this is obviously not the pivot chart. Pivot chart is very, very easy, right, to summarize the data and putting the data into a graphical form and connecting it to the slicer. So there are certain limitations to it, and that is that it is applicable to one data source, which is we have this a data sample, a sales data sample, right? But at times we need to look the data from different perspective, maybe to look at the cross-sectional data, right? We need to use certain other tools, maybe the drop-down list, maybe to spin button, maybe to list box, and something like this. So we will be doing now some of the features of Excel that will help you to develop your data set, right? Or to put the data into a dashboard, right? So that we will be doing in 2 minutes from now. But before that, moving to the next topic, the task for the day. That is, you have in the handout maybe the employees data. There is another data source, right? There is another file which is employees data. You may see there are 25 columns in it, and I don't know for how many rows of the data, but there is a data. Now, what you can do, you can use the pivot tables to look at the data from different perspective, right? But that is not the task. The task is
Can you repeat the name of the file?
the employees data. Let me recheck it.
No, it wasn't uploaded.
Okay, it is not. Let me see.
Yeah, just wait where it is and uploaded right now.
This is the payroll data, right? This is the payroll data.
Okay, I'm uploading that. Just hold on.
Okay, Feroz is uploading this payroll data. Let me open this for you. Okay, so this is the data, right?
I've uploaded the file. You all can download it.
Okay, fine. Look at this data. We have the employee code, we have the name, department, joining date, designation status, etc., with some other information. This is the payroll data. Now, what your task is, analyze this data, look at this data, and develop some dashboard with 3 tables and 3 charts that should be controlled by 2, 2, 3. There is 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, okay, there are 4 types of slicer that you can put in your data, right? So you can use 4 different slicer if you want. So my requirement is there should be at least 3 slicers. There should be 3 charts, there should be 3 tables, all controlled by multiple slicers. When you click one of the slicer, your charts, your tables should be changed, right? So this is the task that you should be doing. Visualize yourself, right? That what should be in the dashboard, and it may be based on the net pay, it may be the taxes, it may be the allowances and stuff like this. So whatever you think, it's your creativity, it's your innovation. We will see maybe on Saturday the best dashboards that someone has who created it, and it will be decided by Haroon, me, and Feroz. We will look at and we will try to give it a best shot, right? So this is your task. You should be looking at the data and developing the dashboard, right? So this, I'm closing it now. Okay, just one more thing with this dashboard. Maybe you can, if I select one of this, I can have, there is one more slicer, and that is the insert timeline, right? If you click that, we have the date right in place, click OK. So there is another slicer, right? So this is a special type of slicer. First appeared in Excel 2013. So it is not present in 2010 or 2007. It is only available 2013 and afterwards, right? So this is another type of slicer. You can have the quarters, you can have the months, you can have the days, you can change it to years, quarters, or whatever, and then you can just click one of these. For example, if I want to look at the data, for example, 2012, right, of the February. So if I click a February, this data is changed, but again, this is not connected with this. If I right click, report connection, and do it with the discount table, so you click OK, and this will change as well, right? So this is another type of slicer which is known as a time slicer. You can modify it, you can change it. For example, only the months that you want to have, right? Only the year that you want to have. So we have only 2 years of data, 2012 and 2013, right? And if you have the quarters, so we have the quarters of 1, 2, 3. So this is, you can look at this time slicer in a different way. Okay, now I'm closing it. This file, don't want to save it because it's very easy to create this data, this type of dashboards. Now, somewhere in the on the desktop, I have this folder. We have the training folder, and where is the file that my friend has downloaded? Okay, so this is one, the projection. Now open this projections. And this is available. This is available on the handout. Download it, and we have some options available here. Okay. For example, we have projections. Look at this sheet. Right. So this is the sheet we have. And somewhere you can see that we have little bit of example somewhere here. So this is the drop down list, right? Yeah, this is the one. Okay, we want to create using these projections, using these projections, something, or we want to use this in our dashboard. I want to create a drop down, right? And using this data, maybe I want to look at this data. I want to look this data in terms of years, right? For example, I want to have a look at the sales, right? Maybe I want to look at the cost of goods sold, right? So what can we do that we can use these drop down, combo, list box, pin box, etc., etc., in order to develop the good looking dashboards. So these are some of the things that I will be doing. For example, I will be developing a drop down list. So first of all, we have a drop down somewhere here, right? So we want to create a drop down. So in order to create a drop down, what we need. So let me explain what I'm trying to do, right? I have a drop down here, right? And the values of the drop down will be these values, right? These values. right? And when I select one of the items from this drop down, maybe the net sales, these values should pop up, right? These values should pop up. And I will create a chart of these two from 2005 to 2009, and all the values should appear on the table, and the chart is created. So let's see how we can do that. For example, first of all, copy this, Control C, and put it somewhere in wherever you want to create. For example, I want to put this data over here. So these are years. Let me write year. We have years. These are years, right? We want to create a drop down. So how we can do that? In order, there are two ways to create a drop down. Maybe the day before yesterday, we have used the data validation technique to create a drop down list, but now we are doing it in a different way. One of the drawback of that data validation drop-down list is that you may not be able to format it, right? The aesthetic that you want to apply, you won't be able to do that in the data validation, right? But the drop-down list that we will be creating here, or whatever the rest of the sources or the functions, the functionalities, you can apply the formatting, right? So in order to use this option of drop down, you have to have a developer tab in place, right? So how you should be inserting our developer tab? Right here. So there is no developer tab at present. So click File, right? We have somewhere, we have options, more, and we have options. Now we have options here. Now in somewhere we have the customize ribbon. On the Excel options, on the left panel, you should see customize ribbon. This is customize ribbon. Right on the right side, there are the names of the tabs available, right? We have one with the name developer. Check it and click OK. When you click OK, you should see the developer tab pops up. So we have this developer tab. Hopefully you have the developer tab in place, right, on your Excel. Now click developer tab, then you should see a group name controls. So this is control, right? Now in this control, you have insert, right? You have insert. Now you have different form controls, right? So what you can do is you can click this one, which is the combo box, which is this one, checkbox. This is pin button. This is what we, this is the list box, and this is the checkbox, and okay, this is the combo box, right? This is the combo box or the drop down, right? Okay, look at this. You can resize it. Let me move it a bit further so that okay, now we have this, right? This is, now what you can do, right click. When you right click it, we have what we can do. We can cut, we can copy, we can group, we can reordering the size, but here we have the format control. Click this one. When you click this one, right, we have the form control properties. the first thing that it asks the input range. The input range is the list of values that should be present in this combo box or the drop down, right? So click this one, go to validation, go to projection, and select these values. Click OK, right? And then we have another option, which is cell link. This is very, very important to select this link, because this is used for controlling, right? Now select this one, click, and just click right now somewhere here. Now click OK, and click OK now, right? So if I click this one, now you may see we have different values. We have net sales, we have cost of goods sold, we have net operating income, etc., etc. All these values which are here, right? Which are here. Now what I will be doing, I will be using one of these values in order to get the values of this, right? So how I can do that? Drop down. If I select one, net sales, this is the cell link. It pops up with 1. It means that we have selected the first value. If I select the second one, you may see that it becomes 2. The cost of goods sold is 2. And similarly, this is 3 or 4, whatever. So this is the cell link which we will be using to pop up the data right from here, right? For example, if I say I'm writing, for example, the value which is right now 4, right? So I'm getting the value of this. Okay. We can use, just give me a minute. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We have here drop down list, right? So what we can do, we can use a function which is named as the choose function. Choose, right? Choose. Okay, now we have the index number. Now we have the index number. Index number is this one, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 values. So what we are trying to do, we want to fetch this value. We want to fetch this value right over here with the help of the choose function. So we have the choose function, which is this one. Now on the basis of value 1, what should appear right over here? So these are the value 1, value 2, value 3. So what I will be doing, I am selecting this value, go back to the projection, right? This, then comma, then now we have the projection C8, this is the C8, comma, then select the second one, C9, then the third one, then this one, then net income, for example. And then close it and then enter it. Now you can see what we have right now. If we select option from here, net sales, it becomes net sales, right? If we have cost of goods selected, we have the cost of goods selected. And if we have net income, we have the net income. Now the rest of the tasks become very, very easy. Now what we can do, we can use the VLOOKUP function is equal to VLOOKUP, right? We have studied it, we have learned it the day before yesterday. So what we want to fetch the net income from where we want to get it from the projection, right? This is the projection. This is the data source from where we want to get the data, right? Then we want to fix it. Let me do it again. Let me escape it. I'm doing it again. Is equal to VLOOKUP. This we want to find, and we okay. So what we need to do, we need to put the $ manually, because this the keyboard that I have is its function. Okay, FNF4. We have FNF4. Okay, yes, FNF4. This one. Then we have the comma. Then we have this data source. This is the data source that we want to fetch the data from. Then FNF4 to fix it, comma, right? Now we want to have the value from second column, right? Then comma 0, and then you have that's it. So we have enter. So what we did, we pulled the data of net income of year 2005. So if I click this one with net sales, now we have the net sales this much. So similarly, what you can do, we have put maybe 2, maybe 3. This is not the tip I recommend, but for the time we have, we are short of time, so I'm using this tip, and that is that I want to copy the entire the formula in a one go. So this is the column index I have, right, which is 2, which is this is the index 2, right, and click OK. Now, so I'm Control C and Control B, Control B, Control. And Control B. Okay. So we have this. Now the rest, the last thing is easy. So we have this selection. Control F1 is the keyboard shortcut for Control F and F1 is a keyboard shortcut to insert a chart here. This is the selection insert. You can do as well select, and we have the recommended chart of this will be, for example, this one, and click OK, and we have this chart, right? So we have the combo box. We have select from here. This is the cost of gold sold, right? And this is the values. This is how we can do that, right? So I'm giving you a minute to implement it. I'll be right back after a minute. Just do it. Okay, I'm back. Now this is how it works. Hopefully, Feroz, if there's a question, I can answer in about a minute. So we have 1 minute question answer session. Feroz, if there is any question on this.
Yes, Akib Nula wants to know okay, there is the size of this button increases the size of the file. When we insert this button, the file size of Excel increases. Is there any way to reduce it? I don't think there is, but you can tell better.
Okay, there are certain properties controls in the developer. So in the developer tab, you have to get the properties. If you get the properties, right, you may have certain options available here. You can look at the size, you can control the size, the height, and the width, etc., etc., right? So you
But I
can
don't think that. But I don't think the size of the file can be reduced.
size of the file. What do you mean by the size of the file?
For example, when we insert this button, the file size from 1 MB to 1.5 MB or 2 MB. Is there a way to reduce that? I don't think there is a way.
No, there is not a way. But this is the way to present your data, right? So you can either use it.
Ghulam Farid wants to know what is the shortcut to insert charts. I believe it was Control F1.
Yes, Control F1.
Okay, Ghulam Farid, it is Control F1. And there is a slant.
Feroz, Alt F1.
Alt F1. Sorry, Ghulam Farid, it is Alt F1. Okay, next is Arsalan Salim. He want please tell me when Pivot stop refreshing of new data. Arslan Salim wants to know when PivotTables stops refreshing the new data. For example, the source data is altered or there are some additions in the source data.
Okay, Feroz, that's sorry on my part that I should have addressed this question before while discussing the pivot table. Okay, whenever we create a pivot table, all the data comes to a special type of memory which is known as the cache memory, and it is known as pivot cache, right? So what happens is when the pivot table is created, all the data comes to the pivot cache, and we get the report or the charts from that pivot cache, right? Whenever the new data comes in, there are two ways to refresh the data. One is we have to do it manually, just click the press button, refresh button. When you press the refresh button, the new data that was appended after the pivot table we have created will be moved to pivot cache and will be reflected in the pivot table or in the pivot chart, right? But there is another way we can refresh it, not manually, but automated, right? We can do that by saying every 30 minutes, if the frequency of the data is more, the more new data coming in about, say, 30 minutes, we can set the refreshing rate by 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes, your pivot table will get a refresh, right? So these are the two ways. Either you do it manually, or you can set the refresh rate by an hour, maybe a day or whatever, right? So that we can do.
Okay,
I hope
Ali wants to know what is the formula that you used in I4, cell number I4.
okay, that is a choose function. Okay, let me explain what that function is. Now, whenever we select from here, right? So this is net sales. This is the first option, right? So that is why the link cell is important, because this chart or this form is controlled with this cell link, right? This cell. So we have linked this cell with this combo box. When I select one, so it is net sales, right? I know it is net sale. Now when it is cost of goods sold, now this become 2. So what I'm doing here in the choose function, that choose function, the first is the index number. Index number is actually, I'm referring to this. If it is 1, then what it should do. If it is 2, what should it do? So what I did was, based on the value of this, if it is 1, it should display C8 projection, whatever value there in C8 of sheet projection, it should display that. If the value of A5 is 2, then whatever be the value of at C9 of sheet projection will be displayed, and similarly the rest of the thing. So C8, C9, C10, C11, and C12. If you look at this projection, right? This is C8, this is C9, this is C10, 11, and 12, whatever, right? So these are the values which are being displayed on the basis of the selection of from this combo box, right? If you look at here, we have the net income. So based on this, we have the net income displayed, and because it is the last value, which is it is in C12. So this value keeps on changing based on our selection, whatever selection is. So it comes, we have a number here, and we use it in choose function. And if the value changes accordingly, the values in these cells will be displayed. So this may be a list. This is value 1, this is value 2, and so on and so forth. So this is the choose function. I hope that answers. Should we move forward? Okay, what I'm doing now, I'm using right over here, right? I'm developing another, for example, I'm developing a list box. So developer tab, this is the insert. This is the list box, I guess. Yes, this is the list box. I'm developing a list box here. I'm developing the list box here. So this is the list box. Okay, this is the list box. And I want to increase the size of this. Okay, so this is I have. Now I'm getting the same data, form control. Right, this is the control. Again, the rest of the thing becomes same. Input. What we want to get the data from, we have this, right? And oh, it's not working properly. Now the cell link. Now the cell link is now this time it is A6, right? A6, and click OK. So we have this data, right, coming in. If I select, okay, if I select 1, net sales, now this is 1, right? If I select 2, this is 2. So using here, now I'm using the same thing. Okay, A5, instead of A5, I'm using A6, right? Enter. The rest of the thing becomes the same, right? What I will do, select net operating system, the rest of the thing is the same. So it is only the appearance of the tool that we have. Here we have the combo box, here we have the list, but the rest of the things remains the same, right? So this is the list box. Then we have the spin box. Let me the baseline is that whatever tool we have for the dashboard, there is one important cell, and we have to utilize these cells in order to develop your interactive dashboard. Now here, what I'm doing, I'm only giving you the way that how we can add the spin box. For example, I have the spin insert, and we have the spin box somewhere. Uh, Here is the spin box, okay, which is called the scroll bar, right? So this is then I need to format control, and then uh, what is the current value? For example, the current value, I'm putting it, for example, 200. Minimum value is, for example, 1, and then we have the maximum value. Let me current value change it to current value, change it. Current value may be 100, and minimum value 1, maximum value may be 1000, right? Incremental change is by 1, by 10, by 20, whatever that you want to put in, right? Right now I'm only doing it 1. And cell link, now the cell link, important. So click this one and click OK, right? So we have right now the current location is 1. If you again, we can resize it, we can change it, change the height, the width, etc., etc. But if you click this one, now look at here, we have 189. You can increase, you can decrease this thing, right? And based on this cell link value, what you can do is you can control uh, uh, the charts value, right? You can control the charts. So this is the way to use all of these options. I've given you one example of the combo box. I've given another example of the list box. I have just give you an idea how the spin box works. It's very simple. In which cases you want to use a particular option of this spin box, light, combo box, list box, drop down, whatever. It's all depend on you. But all of these options which are there in the controls, right? Be checkbox, be a list box, it always have one cell link with this control. Whenever there is a change here, it is reflected by the cell link, and from there this cell link is used in the main logic of developing the dashboard or the data that we want to extract from the data source, right? So I'm concluding this part of the dashboard here, right? So these are the form controls. You can use it to again develop a good looking charts, and these are very handy in a sense that at times the data source is available on so many different locations, maybe sheets. You can consolidate with the help of different formulas and functions, and from that consolidated reports you can get the data using these form controls and put it in your dashboard, right? So I've just given you the basic idea that how these form control may be used in developing the dashboard, right? And I have just gave you one idea, right? So or rather two ideas. So one with the combo box and one with the list box, right? So this is I'm concluding this part right over here. So is there any question, Feroz? So I can answer and then move to the next topic. Okay, Feroz, do we have questions?
I'm checking out the questions. Muhammad Ans Khan, he says, how can we make it ready for printing the pivot table so it looks attractive? Ans, do you want to understand? You're not clear. If you can raise your hand, I can ask you to unmute and explain what you want to know.
Feroz, we don't have time for the long question answers sessions, but I have understood his question. If he says that the charts that we have either with the pivot table or with the right, the one thing which I lack here is formatting, right? Remember that formatting is out of the scope of this session. I'm just giving you the awareness about the technique, that how we can use different techniques or the functionalities of Excel to develop the charts or the dashboards, right? So you can format it. You can format your charts. You can format your tables. You can format like this. So to make it more attractive, right? These I just need to format it, and this look amazing, right? But that is not I'm doing right now because it is out of the scope. Now, the second thing is that can we print it? Yes, we can print it by defining the print area. Once we define the print area, and your chart is included in that, and when you print that, only that portion of the dashboard will get printed, right? I hope that answers.
Okay. Alina Seher wants to know how is the form and ActiveX control differs.
Okay, the form X is more programmable. We need to have the VBA coding knowledge in order to utilize those. So that is the only difference between these two. Form controls may be used here as to just develop a form and get it printed, right? So this is another use of the form control. So we can develop a form using these buttons, using these form controls, and then we can get the data and we can use it for maybe a printing purpose. We can also use to add data in a particular file. So ActiveX has more programming, is more programmable. It has more what we can say the formatting capabilities. So that is the only difference between these two. The last question on this.
Okay. The last question is, please tell again the creation of developer option in Ribbon. Noman Khabar wants to know this.
Okay, you want to you want you to put the developer sign on the tab. That is his question. That
I think he wants to know how did you access options in Ribbon?
Okay.
How did you activate the developer options in Ribbon?
Okay, fine. So the next topic is somehow related to this as well. So first of all, for those the developer tab is not active, right? So I'm doing it for them once again because the next topic is important and we will be using this developer tab again, right? So for the last time I'm doing it. So file, then you have the options, right? The options, and in the customize ribbon, then on the right side we have the list of tabs available. This tab was should be unchecked. Checked it. When you checked it, click OK. You should get the developer tab. right? You should get the developer tab here, right? Okay. Now, the last topic of the day, only we are left with 10-15 minutes, and I will try to give you the demonstration as well. Okay, there are functions we have used so far with the VLOOKUP function, the if function, or so many other functions. All these are built-in function, the Excel functions. But at times we do need functions that are required to perform certain tasks. Maybe yesterday or maybe the day before yesterday, I forgot it, but somebody asked that we want to get the total based on the colors, right? So my response was that we have to have certain user-defined function in order to do that, right? So there are functions which are built in, which are not, so we have to create our own function, which are known as UDF functions. So user-defined functions. So there is one file which is in, I guess, in Word format within your handout. You can download these files, that particular files, and there are many functions, user-defined functions. But how to use it, I will let you know, right? But I am writing a very, very simple function, right? I want to, for example, add two functions, add two numbers. Although we have the sum function, we can do that. We can write a formula for that. But it's just to give you an idea, the concept that how user-defined function are developed, how they work, and how they may be used, right? So I'm just giving you that idea. So you can develop your own function depending on your requirement. So I was giving a session to one of the firm. A few of the accountants were there, and they have just raised one question that at times we need to perform some a calculation. Is there any function for that? Can we do that? So my answer was the same, that you can have the user-defined function knowledge. If you be able to do that, then it is very easy for you to perform these tasks easily. So the next 10 minutes, I will be only showing you that how you can create a user-defined function, how it can be used, number two, and what is the logic behind the function, right? What is the mechanism on the basis of which a function works? So I'm creating a blank new sheet, right? And I'm creating a function, a very simple function. For example, I have v1 and v2. These are the two values, right? And I'm writing a few 10, maybe 20, maybe 30. And here I have, say, 5, 34, and 6, right? So what I want to do is I want the total of these two values. So the function that I'm trying to develop here, that it will take the values of this cell, and give us the total, right? I will be using a user-defined, I'm developing a user-defined function that will do that, right? So in order to build this, develop this user-defined function, what you need to do, you need to use the developer tab. So we have to have the developer tab, and in the developer tab, on the extreme left, we have the Visual Basic. So click Visual Basic. Once you have the Visual Basic, your things will get changed a bit. Okay. So look at this. We have the VBA project now. We have the book one. The name of the book is, this is the book one, right? We have sheet one. We have this sheet one only, right? Right. And we have the projection. Another sheet is open, which is the projection, right? So this will give you the indication that what is right now opened in our system. So what you want to do, you want to create a user-defined function somewhere here. So in order to do that, just click insert from here or right click. You will get the insert module somewhere here. Right click insert. You have the option insert and you have the module. Either you can do it from here or you can do the insert, select one and you can do module over here. So we have the modules, right? So in this module, you will be writing your function. So just type the function. I'm not sure whether it is visible or not. Function name is add to numbers. I'm not sure whether it is visible or not. Add two numbers. And then I have the parentheses and I have a variable, for example, a comma b. So these are the values that I'm using it, right? Then I have another which is c and which is equal to a plus b. I'm not sure whether it is visible or not. Even it is not visible to me. Okay, fine. Okay, now this is the simplest of the function that I've created. Now look at here, we have a function. Let me see if I can but I forgot how to increase the font size. Okay, fine. Okay, we are running out of time. Not to. Okay, now few things you need to look at. Function. Whenever you write a function, user-defined function, your function, your code should start from the reserved word name function. So this is a function. Now, after this reserved word function, it means that we are writing a function. We are writing a function. Then we have add two numbers. This is the name of the function, as we have sum, if, VLOOKUP, whatever. These are all the name of the function. So we are writing a user-defined function, and the name of the function is add two numbers, right? Now, what this function will do, it will accept two values, and these two values will be stored in A and B, right? A and B. Now, once these values are stored in A and B, we will pass these values through these variables and will be used in here. Between function and end function, there is a body which is called a body of the function. So whatever written between function and end function is the body of the function, right? So this is the start of the function, this is the end of the function. So we have just write a function add two numbers that takes two values A or B. These A, B are known as the arguments. When it takes two values, we move into the inner body of the function. Then we have the expression A plus B, right? So A plus B, it will be added and will assign to this name of the function, which is add two numbers. Right, what I'm trying to do now, I'm now using these functions to apply it on this sheet, which I already did. Now, this is add. Now you see there is a list which shows the function. We have add two numbers. So I'm writing the first number. For example, I'm using this number 10. A2, the value A2 is passed to the variable A in a function. Now I have the comma, then I have another value that is B2. Now the value in the B2 will be assigned or will be passed to B, that is a variable we have used in the function, right? Now when I press enter, these two values will be assigned to A and B. Then it will go to the body of the function. We have only one line in that function, and that is A plus B, that will be assigned to function 2AB. So A add two number is the name of the function, and also the variable we have used in the body of the function, and the expression A plus 2 will be evaluated and the answer will be assigned to this. And that value which is assigned to add two number will be returned right over here. If I press enter, and you see I get 15, and I can use this function as I'm using the built-in function. So 20 plus 34 is 54, 30 plus 36 is 66, and so on and so forth. And if you go back here, we have function, you can minus. Now this is subtract two numbers. If you get, for example, this one, this is the division function. So you can use this place to develop your own expression that you required to perform a given task. So this is the way to develop your user-defined function. Because of the shortage of time, I could not use a more complex function, but this is how the function we developed a user-defined function, right? Now, the one more thing we can say, for example, if you want to add or you want to write a function, you can write it like this. But there are certain code available on the net, right? There are some functions, function code available on the net. You can utilize those functions as well there and then. For example, we have a list, I don't know, maybe we have UDF codes. Okay, this is the UDF code. Let me get it from here, right? So now look at this. We have this function that will calculate the sum based on cell color, right? So what you can do is you can copy this function. This is the function we have. This is the code. Right click, copy, and go back to your Excel in the VBA insert a module, right? Or you can copy that in the previous module as well. But here you can copy Control V. That is now copied. Now look, the function name is sum by color. So X as range, we are using two variable, X as range, right? We want to select it as range. We want to pass two range, ranges. And based on this code, this will be executed, right? So let me just giving you the idea. For example, I want to use this function add, not add sum. I have sum. Now you can see I have sum by color. Okay, sum by color. So it requires two ranges. So right now I cannot show you how to use it because I don't have the relevant data right now, right? But these are the functions. This is the way to use to write the function. This is the way to utilize the function. So for example, you can use this function that will determine the day name of the day, right? For example, it is a Sunday, Monday, or whatever, right? Then we have some other functions. Functions name of the day. There's second type of code. We have okay, code available from web. That is some interesting, but we are already 2-3 minutes over now. I think let's call it a day then. Feroz, if there is any questions, and I will try to answer in couple of minutes, right? Yes, Feroz, if we have any question. Feroz, are you there? Feroz, I'm not hearing you. Feroz, you are not audible to me. I'm sorry, I'm not able to listen to you. There is a tech problem with the audio.
Ram, can you hear me?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so we done for the day. Yes, I saw the VBA code in the end. Are we waiting for Feroz to look at questions?
Yes, I'm trying to, but I think there is a problem with the audio, or maybe.
So I think what we can do is, Khurram, if you can open up the questions yourself. Do you have the questions tab available to you?
I have the chat available. We have the questions. Okay, I have the questions tab.
Yeah, so just open up the questions tab, and you should have a few questions there.
I'm facing an error submitting the response again, but that is the only question I'm. That's it.
Okay, so if there are any questions from any participants, I think now is the time.
Okay, I think let's call it a day. It's almost 20:08. Okay, what you can do, you can have my email from Harun Sahab. If you have any question, you can send me an email regarding your questions, and I'm I'd be very happy to help you there as well, right? So from my side, thank you very much. See you on Saturday, I guess.
Yes,
Harun,
thank you
over
very
to
much, Khurram. Yes, thank you very much, Khurram. Participants, just to give you an idea of what we're going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow is our session on Microsoft Word. I will be conducting it myself. We will be looking at generating table of contents. We will be looking at mail merge, some interesting aspects of mail merge, and we will not rather look at formatting and that part. So if there are some specific questions, please bring them along tomorrow. We may answer some questions, but our focus is going to be mail merge, okay, and table of contents. So I think that's the depth, the detail that we're going to get into in talking about Microsoft Word. I hope you will enjoy tomorrow's session as well. It should be good value addition and good information for your as we call it, increase your work efficiency. So with that, let's call it a day. Please do share your feedback about Microsoft Excel. Do tell us about whether you found the sessions informative, whether you've learned new things, what are the particular topics that excited you, and you're going to take them back with you to your desks tomorrow. And we continue to work on our mission, and that was to increase the earning potential members. So with that, let's call it a day. Thank you very much for joining in, and take good care of yourselves, and goodbye.
Goodbye.